Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk about the readings that we have covered and discussed for week two. There were several things that I found interesting in both of these readings. To start off with essay number one, I found the comments that were made about like the theater industry itself and how Broadway is set up really, really interesting because first off, in the reading, you notice that he was talking about how Broadway was untraditional. I find this very interesting because a lot of theaters have also set up their basis or their structures, if not very, very similar to somewhat similar as Broadway. So, like, their audition process is pretty similar. How you kind of go through that process is sometimes pretty similar. How then you either get hired or if you're doing community theater, just chosen to perform on that stage, how you kind of get put in that process is similar. How you get contacted is similar. How you go through the show process is similar. Even, again, if it is a community theater setting, like their process for rehearsals, audition process, how much time you are rehearsing might be a little different because, again, in a community theater setting, you're not doing it as your day job, so you don't have the full 8 hours of the day to rehearse. But all of those processes are really similar, so I've found the fact that they were calling, or that he was calling Broadway untraditional. I also found it interesting that when he was talking about Broadway was a waste and it was competitive. I found this really interesting because when you actually stop to think about it, like, yes, Broadway can be very competitive, but so can a lot of other job fields. So I found it interesting that he was noting that Broadway was a waste. But when you actually sit and think about the hiring process for a lot of different jobs, there is a sense of competition because in a job process, you have to feel like you're going to be the best applicant. Similar to on Broadway, you feel like you've got to be the best performer there that's going out for that specific role or job than the other people there. The one thing that I will note is that anytime I've gone through an audition process myself, whether it's been like for community theater stuff or school stuff or whatever, I have never personally liked auditioning because I always like that's the only part about theater that it makes me nervous. But anytime I have gone, the people that are there auditioning with you, while you are competing against them, I have never had anybody in an audition room, nor have I witnessed anybody in an audition room be very unkind to anybody else. Like the energy in there is always supportive and is always like, because you know that they're in the same position as you. Yes, you are going out for the same things, but that feeling of nervousness, of wanting to be the best, of I hope I get this job, they're having all of those same or familiar feelings to you. And so, of course, you kind of want to sit there and support them as they will also kind of sit there and support you. So, while yes, it is, Broadway can be absolutely very competitive, as can any other theater out there in this country or any country or wherever it is set up as, I have always felt that people in theater can also be very kind to you sitting in that room. So yes, there is a competitiveness, but there is also that sense of camaraderie in theater as well. Now, when it comes to the second essay, there were a few points that I did find very interesting in the reading, but overall, what I really liked reading about was the fact that this group came over to America to share what it is that they were doing, what they had learned, all about their like process of performance and shows and everything. And the people in America were not rejecting them. They weren't saying like, we don't want what it is you have to bring. They saw what they were doing and got totally inspired. And not only did they get inspired, they were saying, we want to know what you want to know. Whatever it is that you're doing, we love it, and we want you to teach us how to do it. And then not only did that happen, but then members from that group decided we're going to teach them. So I really, really love how they talked about and how it was done, but just the share of knowledge of theater. And there was nobody in that situation that was saying we want to keep all of our theater secrets, whatever, to ourselves. And that's something that I have also always liked is people in theater, whether they have gained like any kind of knowledge or new techniques, or it's techniques that like maybe are not new but some people don't know about, they are always very willing to share it. They're not saying, I'm going to keep this to myself. They're sharing it with everybody, or they're teaching it because they know that it is either important to share with other people so that other people can be doing the things in theater that are great, or just they have that feeling in themselves like, I'm going to share what it is I know. I'm going to share this with everybody else. Nobody that I am aware of or that I have come across has seemed to want to keep theater things to themselves. They're always willing to share what it is they've learned, because a lot of times what they learned came from somebody else. So it is also that feeling of, I'm going to pay this forward. I'm going to take what this person taught me and I'm going to share it to somebody else because it's good information, or it's great information. It's good techniques. It's how to, properly put on a show. And so it is all of that stuff. And I love the fact that that group came over from a different country, did all of their performances and work for the people in the U.S., and then they decided to teach it, and the people in the U.S. were very willing to and wanting to accept what it is that was being taught to them, because they wanted to know what was going on and what made that group so great. They wanted to be doing the same thing. All right, so that is what are some of the things that I had put in my essays to talk about for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I look forward to your comments. Thank you.